Hello everybody, welcome back to That Fiction Life. Today's video is all about Outer Banks, a somewhat new teen drama that dropped on Netflix. Now this video is going to have a few different parts to it and you can navigate through them in the description using the chapters. I love this new feature. We're going to start with a spoiler-free section all about the show. We're then going to talk about the ending because a lot of things happened. And in the final section, we're going to have season 2 theories. Make sure to comment down below if you've seen the show. Let me know your favourite scenes or who your favourite characters are. And without further ado, let's begin. Now, Outer Banks is set on the Barrier Islands, just off the coast of North Carolina, and follows a group of friends who are looking for a treasure that went missing in the 1800s. They're particularly interested in this mystery because the ringleader's dad spent 20 years of his life searching for this treasure, and he himself has gone missing. So that's the overall arc of the season. However, so many different things come into play. There's so many friendships and so many romantic ties that are developed throughout this season that it's really, really well-rounded. Now, this series has all the ingredients for the most cliche and has been done thousands of times before kind of series. And that is why I avoided this for weeks. I thought it was going to be another cringy show with teenagers running around getting up to no good. I hate myself because I could have had my life changed all those weeks ago. It was so far from cliche. Loving these characters definitely snuck up on me. There's a sort of turning point, I think, around episode 4 that I realised that I'm completely hooked. Now, the set of this whole series is very interesting. It brings focus to an area that I don't think is explored in media a lot, and Outer Banks itself is a very beautiful area, and although the show wasn't filmed there itself, it does bring attention to this very cool area of land. I was noticing the cinematography being very different, the way they travel over the water frequently, because that's how you travel in between the islands, and you have the marsh and you have this area called Figure 8, which is so cool and is in fact a real place. The surfing montages, the very laid-back lifestyle that these characters have is the ideal show to watch in this type of season, because I think in the summer and the spring months you kind of feel very infinite, as though you're supposed to be having an adventure of your own, and this series will definitely give you that feeling. There were plot points that definitely needed to be clarified a little bit more. The characters are what absolutely make this show. It's a very relatable ensemble that they put together, and that is definitely down to the cast. They all play off each other very, very well, and I think that they come across as a group as though they've known each other for years and years, and you don't feel as though you're watching a show. This kind of feels like you've infiltrated this real life group of friends and you're going along for the ride. That sense of adventure is so strong, and it was definitely the highlight of the viewing experience. Now we have to talk about the age of these characters, because often, you know, people are supposed to be teenagers, but you know they're not. I burst out laughing whenever their ages were brought up because I didn't believe for a second that these people were 16. They all look like young adults, and I wish that the characters were aged up because that would also give them leeway to make the series a lot darker. A lot of the plot points wouldn't work if they were aged up, because the fact that these characters are minors plays a big part in a lot of the plot lines going on, because a lot of their problems would go away if they were all 18, but they do not look 16, and I wish that they were made at least sort of 18, 19, and then perhaps change the plot to go in a different route. The plot is so unpredictable, and I'm actually very surprised because it was heading towards a very obvious direction. But towards the end, I have never been so stressed out because so many things were happening all at once. The ending is very satisfying, yet it has so many different things that are still left to be explored. I'm left with so many questions. I don't even know what to do with myself. How are we supposed to wait? I'm having withdrawals. Now we're going to very quickly explain the final episode. Of course, this section is going to have spoilers, so do click off this video if you haven't watched the show. So the episode starts and Ward tells Rose about what him and Rafe did. by running away and kind of being very involved in the murder of the sheriff. They both seem to have gotten away with it for the time being. Sarah, however, escapes her little hideout with John B, and she runs straight to the detectives and attempts to tell them the truth. When Ward grabs her and tells the police officer detective person that she has issues and that's why she's having a breakdown and is coming up with all these lies, Father of the Year? I think not. A favourite group of friends then steal JJ's father's boat, and they start coming up with this whole plan for John B to run away with Sarah, who has gone a little bit AWOL at this point. Now Rafe and his new best friend Barry intercept their plan. You know, you're going 2 against 3 here, and you should learn to not do that. And while this is all happening, Barry learns that the big secret and the reason that Rafe is going a little bit insane is because he murdered the sheriff. We then have John B saying goodbye to all of the Pogues. Sarah is still nowhere to be found, so he's setting sail without her. But then in the last second, she runs to the boat and they sail away. The scene in the pitch black with the whole police tent pretty much overlooking the area where they are on the boat was the most stress-inducing scene that I think I've ever had to experience, when the light goes shining away on the horizon and they just light up like a Christmas tree. We all knew that's when it was going to go down. Then we have another storm. Just like in episode 1 when everything was ruined. So John B and Sarah then connect themselves to one of the police and he tells them the truth about Ward, who is right there trying to kind of lure them back to the shore. All the Pogues have turned up. It's a whole massive operation. Then the Coast Guard have to stop looking because the storm has become too much. They have been washed away. Ward is told to stay right there because they believe John B a little bit. Then all the Pogues' parents come up and they have a big massive reunion. JJ joins Pope's family for a few seconds. Emotions were flying. Now at this point in time, everyone presumes that John B and Sarah have been washed away forever. But then we see little bits of their boat and they've both made it through the storm and they are saved by a passing boat and the crew are headed for the Bahamas. Now if you remember, that's where the gold headed, and so they're going to find themselves at one of Ward's properties where he had the gold flown to. Now this is very exciting because I thought that the gold storyline was pretty much fizzling out at this point, but the way that this all circled back, round of applause. I'm now going to go into my theories. Theory number 1, Topper will have a redemption arc. Now out of that whole bully group of the kooks, I found Topper to be the most reluctant anti-hero. You always had this sense from him that he doesn't actually want to do these things. He's looked as though he was a little bit unsure about what he's doing. He did look out for Sarah a lot throughout the season, and I think what they did to him was so mean. Yes, he's not the nicest person, but I really think Sarah should have broken up with him first. And he clearly does have real feelings for her because when he pretended to be John B to trick the police into thinking that he himself is John B so the other 2 could run away, that was a twisting point. That helping out thing really makes me think that he's going to become more of a likable character in season 2. Theory number 2 is that Rose will become the villain. This is a huge theory going around the internet at the moment, and for me that clicked right at the beginning because Rose came across as someone that would do anything to keep her status. She cannot even get by without power. You saw her going up the stairs in episode 1 with her phone. Like, I can't be living like this. She's very set in her ways. But now that Ward might be going to prison is going to set her off, and it's going to be the turning point in her trying to get the gold herself. I was very taken aback that she knew about Ward's murders and the fact that she was so calm when he told her that him and Rafe murdered the sheriff, and, you know, it's just another day in the household for her for some reason. Which brings me on to theory number 3, is that Ward will go to prison and Rafe also has a possibility of becoming the main villain. Now you have John B telling that he murdered Big John. which was such a plot twist because, like I said in the non-spoilered review, I thought that the series was going in a particular way and it was very obvious that John B's dad would come back and everything would play out like that. Rafe is definitely going off the rails here. His whole conversation with Barry, he looks as though he's completely going to lose it, and I can totally imagine in the next season seeing him kind of take matters into his own hands and get revenge. And I don't think that he will be arrested just yet, because I really think that if Ward does go to prison, he will take the fall for the sheriff. Number 4 is that Kiera will become a big part of season 2. Out of all of the characters that we meet, she's the one that is a little bit in the grey area for me. With JJ, we had a full development in seeing his horrific relationship with his dad. We have Pope and his scholarship and his future ambitions, and that's kind of what's driving him. With Kiera, I feel as though we don't know enough about her, and that's down to the fact that she herself is technically a kook, yet she's hanging out with the Pogues. I don't feel that we learnt as much about her as the other characters. I think she's a very underrated character, and there's a very popular theory going around that one of the Pogues is related to Denmark Tanny, who you will recall is the person that had all the gold in the first place. Kiera might be the person. They would now have an actual legal claim on the gold. Now, my final theory is a ship related one, because there's so many different couples being put together, and a huge one is that Kiera will end up with JJ. Hear me out, okay? I don't think that's going to happen in season 2. I think they're going to try and push the Pope relationship on us at the start. It was very suspicious how at first Kiera was telling Pope, I don't have any feelings for you at all, I don't want this to be a thing, we're friends, everything else. But then when she kisses him out of the blue in the finale, everyone's thinking, hold on a second. Now, is this a move from the writers to kind of tell us what's going to happen in season 2? Right now, it just feels very forced. I think if this is what they're intending, it was kind of poorly written throughout the season, because all we really saw was Pope pining over her for the whole bloody season. But I don't think that we're ready to see JJ and Kiera. Now, I want them to be endgame, because based on the scenes throughout, JJ and Kiera have much better chemistry. Okay, let's look at the facts. When she kissed John B, her first question was, did you tell JJ? Why do you want to know? Point number 2. At the midsummer party, she runs straight for JJ. The scene where they decide to run away from the party altogether as a group, and Kiera is kind of being told by her parents, you can't go with them, you belong with us. She decides to go anyway. Kiera runs straight for JJ. She just runs straight to his arms and they do a little twirl, and the end. Final point, the hot tub scene. Now, this is a beautiful scene of friendship as well, because let's be real, the way that all 3 of them hugged after they find out just how bad the situation with JJ is. There was something about the 2 of them, JJ and Kiera, hugging first that I think sparked something. I don't know, have you seen friends hug like that? I don't know. It's up for debate, but you know, all those facts and the evidence just point towards a perfect endgame with those 2. However, I do not think that we're going to see that just yet. Definitely in future seasons, I think we're going to have a love triangle situation on our hands. This isn't my personal theory, but a lot of people seem to think that Sarah and John B are going to break up, and I refuse. Because at first, the relationship did start in a very cliched way, but I am living for them. And I think they would be a very good couple to keep intact throughout the seasons, because I hate when drama and mystery TV shows focus on relationship problems as opposed to focusing on the big storyline. Okay, let's be real. These 2 have the best chemistry out of anyone on this whole show, and the episode where they go to the mainland, to the library, just confirmed everything. That is my favourite episode, alongside the Midsummer one. Those are my theories. What are your theories? Do let me know, because I would love to keep discussing with you. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!